God knows we're not perfect. That a scene like this exists in our country and is becoming more common is shameful. But ultimately, do we not constantly redefine ourselves as a nation and strive to refine and promote the principles of freedom and justice? Are those not the fundamental principles of humankind that thousands of years of human history have led us to today? Communism, terrorism, corruption outside and inside our own country, and so many other forces constantly threaten what we hold so sacred, freedom and justice. If you believe that these principles of humanity are worth protecting, then you must appreciate the need for the United States to strengthen its relationships with its democratic allies. Especially with the United States in decline, it's needed now more than ever. I propose to you that among our allies, Japan is the most important. Let's look at the facts. Fact number 1. Japan is a thriving democracy. The days of Japanese people ruled by a military dictatorship ended with the Second World War. Prior to and during the Second World War, the Japanese military dictatorship invaded China and Korea, took Indochina from the French, took Hong Kong from the British, took Indonesia from the Dutch, and took the Philippines from the United States. Many atrocities were committed, on par with the actions of Nazi Germany, the Armenian Genocide 20 years earlier, and American slavery 50 years before that, all dark days in human history. But today, Japan is a thriving democracy and has been for nearly 3/4 of a century. Based on the most recent elections, various independents and 10 different political parties represent the people of Japan in both the upper and lower houses of their Congress. Japan has had peaceful transitions of democratically elected government administrations for almost 70 consecutive years now. In Asia, where 60% of the world's people live, this is second only to Australia and New Zealand. They also enjoy full freedom of religion, full freedom of speech, and full freedom of the press. Fact number 2. Japan is a major world economic power. After the United States, these are the next 10 largest economies. You can see that Japan has the 3rd largest economy in the world and the largest economy of all our allies. With economic power comes influence, and Japan and the United States, working in concert with each other, have a much better chance of seeing their democratic interests survive into the 22nd century. Fact number 3. Japan is a major world military power. After the United States, these are the next 10 military powers in terms of spending. You can see that Japan's military is as large as that of the United Kingdom and France. In terms of military spending as a percentage of the previous chart's GDP, we see that Japan spends a very small amount on its military, just 1% of its GDP. This tradition of a 1% cap on military spending was encouraged in the past by the Japanese people and by the government of the United States. There are now increased calls within Japan and the U.S. government for Japan to increase its military spending. Until other nations reduce their own spending to 1%, a Japanese increase in military spending is a very good idea and should be encouraged. If spending were to increase to just 2%, for example, still a smaller percentage than the other top 5 in this chart, Japan's ability to protect itself and to help its ally, the United States, is increased dramatically. Nevertheless, at just 1%, Japan's military is formidable. And finally, fact number 4. Japan is in Asia. More than half of the world lives in Asia, and more than half of the world's wealth and power will soon be in Asia. The strong democratic allies are needed in Asia, and Japan is the clear choice. Let's go back to our chart on economic power. Japan is the only ally listed here that's in Asia. India is a good friend, but we're strategic partners, which is basically a step down from an ally, and India is rife with corruption, and its level of democracy is not nearly as sophisticated as that of Japan. If we look at South Korea and Australia, our other excellent allies in Asia, we see that they simply don't match the economic power of Japan. So for today, right now, Japan is our strongest ally. Let's go back to our chart on military power. Again, Japan is the only ally listed here that is in Asia. And again, if we look at South Korea and Australia, they are excellent allies, but simply don't match the military power of Japan. So again, for today, right now, Japan is our strongest ally. It's fair to say that Great Britain was our greatest ally of the 20th century, and they will continue to be a close and important ally. But the critical ally for the United States in the 21st century is Japan, for its highly functioning democracy, its economic power, its military power, and its location, Asia. I am not suggesting our other allies are unimportant. We all need each other if democratic principles and freedom are to survive into the 22nd century. But we as Americans need to recognize the importance of Japan. We need them as much as they need us. And so far, it's been a very one-sided relationship. The Japanese know a great deal about us and love the United States, but I'm embarrassed to say that my fellow citizens know very, very little about Japan. We cannot take this relationship for granted. Please watch the video Allies to understand the importance of Japan to the United States, and then take some time to learn about the Japanese people by watching the video Japan. You can find out how I'm riding horseback across our country by checking out the video Go West to Japan, and you can follow my horseback expedition by checking out the regularly updated content in Follow Me. I'm taking 2 years off from work for this trip. That's how much I believe in our relationship with Japan, and so of course donations are most welcome. If you're a teacher, check out the Educators section for curricula and student assignments. If you want to know more about me, check out Who Am I? And everyone is most welcome to contact me with questions, comments, or regarding anything else. For additional information on Japan, the media sources or statistics referenced in this website, and other information, check out links.